Hey guys, real quick. I just started recording.
Hello and welcome back to Our Three Cents. I'm Bailey.
I'm Laura. Again.
And
still
I'm
sick.
a dumbass.
So for those of you, I don't know if you've heard in the cold open or not yet, but we just had a really nice intro about Molly's birthday, and she was telling us some stories. Her birthday was yesterday. Happy birthday, blah, blah, blah. So we were really
No one
nice
cares.
earlier, but about 14 minutes in, Molly says, and you know what, Molly? I saw you stick your tongue out, and I was like, oh, what did Molly just think of? Molly just thought that she wasn't recording. She just realized that 14 minutes were down the toilet, gone, goodbye. So now we're here starting over. Happy birthday, Molly.
Thanks.
What do you have to tell us?
This will be a very condensed version now since I've already told the story. So sorry, listeners.
We've already reached the emotional
Can this be your
peaks.
dumb corner for the week and we just talk about this for 10
I think
minutes?
this is the, yeah.
We don't need
This
it.
is
I can't believe I
definitely,
did that.
All the listeners. This is it. If you've ever wondered, like, are Molly's dumb stories real? Does she really do the things that she talks about? Is she really that dumb?
yes.
We literally sat here, talked about our lives for a few minutes, got our shit together. All three of us said we were ready. Bailey said, "Are we recording?" Me and Molly said,
Yes.
"Yes, I am." And
yes, Molly said yes.
This.
She affirmed.
So we don't have that on recording of me actually saying that.
Yeah, we have no proof that you actually did it, but
yeah.
Okay, Molly, what'd you do this weekend?
Okay. Well, first, last night I was driving to a bar and I went down the wrong way on a one-way street.
Okay, see, I'd forgotten you had done that already, so I guess it's good we're hearing it again.
Exactly. It was very terrifying, but thankfully it was late at night, so no cars were coming.
You weren't drunk, were you? This was on
no,
your
that's
way
the thing.
to
I
the
was
bar.
so sober.
You shouldn't drink and drive, kids. It's dangerous.
I think I was just tired and focused on getting to the bar. Being downtown makes me very anxious because parking is awful. So I think I was
live
like,
downtown?
No.
Okay, good.
So I was like trying really hard to make sure I got to a parking spot. So I think that's what I was really concerned about. The important things in life. But yeah, so this past weekend I went to a wedding in Tuscaloosa, and the way I got invited to that wedding is one of the most awkward moments of my life. So the guy who got married, I'm gonna make up a name just to make it easier for me. Let's call him Tom. My friend Tom got married, and me and Tom have been friends for about like 2 or so years. We've been there for each other through like being single and like talking to people, like getting in relationships. And I helped him meet his girlfriend. No, I didn't have him meet him, but I helped him like I encouraged him to ask her out because he's kind of hesitant.
It was a real Ted Mosby, Robin Scherbatsky kind of relationship. See, I didn't get to say that the first time, so there we go.
Yeah, I encouraged him to ask her out because he was there were like a few things about her that he like wasn't like big on or he like felt differently on, and so but they were very small things. I was like, that's so small in the grand scheme of things, like just ask her out. And so he did. Things obviously went great, and then last summer I was heading back to Atlanta and I met up with him in Tuscaloosa for dinner, and we like caught up, and he's like, oh, I'm proposing to my girlfriend. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's insane. And I was like, I can't wait to hear how it goes. Like, good luck. And we went on our merry way. And a few weeks later, my other best guy friend, we'll call him Jerry. That one just came to me. And he sent me a snap.
You spent so much time thinking up Tom.
And
wait a second.
Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, go
ahead. So he sent me a snapshot of the save the date, and I was like, oh wow, I didn't get that. And Jerry was like, yeah, I think he's inviting a lot of his family, so his invitations are limited. And I was like, no worries, like, it's fine. And so a few months later, around Christmas, I was back in Jackson, Mississippi, and I was visiting. I was going to go over to Jerry's house, and I'd never been to his apartment before. And he was like, "Oh, by the way, Tom and his fiance are here." And I was like, "Oh, great! I haven't had a chance to tell them congratulations yet. Like, I'm excited." And so we're walking up the stairs to his apartment. I've never been there before. And as we're walking up the stairs, I'm like, I'm still really surprised that I didn't get invited to Tom's wedding. But, and before I could finish my sentence, I hear Tom's voice, and he's like, "Hey, Molly." And I like race up the stairs because the door's open, and right into the living room. They're all sitting there, and I'm like, "Oh," I was like, "Congratulations." And like, they're like, "Thanks." Like, I'm pretty sure Tom thought it was funny. I wasn't looking
Everyone
at
was
him.
dying
I
on
was
the
looking at
inside.
my other friend as I was walking in the
Mhm.
room because he was like, "You're incredibly awkward." I was like, "What can I say?" um, and so we like don't even discuss the topic. We just start like catching up and stuff, and eventually Tom and his fiance leave, and he texts me, and after he leaves, and he's like, "I am so sorry about that." And I was like, No, I'm sorry about that." I was like, "I would never in a million years let you hear that come out of my mouth. Like, that's so rude." And he's like, No, we totally want you to come to the wedding. Like, you're totally invited." And I'm like, No. So we went back and forth for like an hour. And finally Jerry was just like, "Just tell him you'll go. Like, y'all aren't going to drop this, so just say yes." And so I was like, "Okay, I'll go, but I'm just so sorry." And he's like, "Don't worry about it. Like, we totally want you to come." And so I've been dreading that wedding ever since. And like, I love weddings. I was really excited about that wedding because I'm very happy for him. But I really wanted to be, actually invited to it. But the wedding was fine. It was super small, so that would explain why I didn't get invited. But yeah, that is how I invited myself to a wedding.
Hey, speaking of How I Met Your Mother, have you compared yourself to Ted Mosby in the past?
Never. I hate
No,
Ted
really?
Mosby.
Okay.
There might be a reason.
Do you do you remember the episode where Ted is going to a wedding and he's like, "Where's my +1?" or something like that, and he's talking to the bride, and she's like, "You didn't circle +1. I would have known if you had circled +1. We would have ordered food for a +1." He's like, "No, I know I circled +1." So he like gets the +1 added to the wedding, and then really he never did circle +1. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah.
I did not intentionally try to invite myself to a wedding.
Maybe not consciously.
I'm just saying. This
I had
reminded
no
me of that
idea.
one time Ted invited someone else
I
to
had
someone
no
else's
idea he
wedding.
could hear me as I was walking up those stairs.
Oh no, that's what makes it classic Molly, is that you had no classic Molly's not inviting yourself to a wedding, it's doing it on accident.
Accidentally getting herself invited to a wedding because she made the bride and groom feel bad.
The worst. They really shouldn't have invited me.
Hey, are you still recording?
Yeah,
Yeah, for real.
I keep checking it just to make sure.
Good. Okay, so are we ready for our topics this week?
I think so.
The wedding story kind of kicks us off to our very relationship themed episode. But Molly, do you want to intro our first topic since you kind of discovered it while you were listening to that podcast? Kind of lead into it?
Yeah. So I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts, If I Were You, by Jake and Amir. And they had a guest on the show. I don't want to mispronounce her name, so I'm not going to even say it. But she was... she's a comedian, I think, like, and a writer, but she used to be a therapist. And so...
Can you try to pronounce her name just for me and Laura?
I want to say it's Julia Norton, but...
Okay, no, I don't know her.
I'm not paused. I could actually look right now to see, because I was listening to the episode earlier. Emily Gordon.
Oh, no, I do know Emily Gordon.
That was so wrong.
Wait, that changes everything, because now I know
No,
who
but
that
it was
is.
kind of close. Like, Julia Norton, Emily Gordon.
Yeah. She's married to Kumail Nanjiani from Silicon Valley, and they just had that movie together that was like about their relationship.
The Big Sick, right?
Yeah, The Big Sick.
Let me look her up. But
They're
yeah,
both very
so
funny.
she was the one.
Good movie. Shameless plug.
Who she was on the podcast, and they were talking about relationships. Because I think one of the questions was like my boyfriend pooped in front of me or something, and I don't know what to do. Like, is that too far? Something like that. But Emily was like, yeah, me and my husband don't go to the bathroom in front of each other.
So surprised.
I don't put deodorant on in front of him. Like, we don't want to lose the spark in our relationship. And I was like, I mean, like, I understand like what she's saying, but I thought it was like she was coming off like she was uncomfortable to do that kind of stuff. And I just always thought, and like, I'm not in a serious relationship, but I just always thought that like, if you're the person you're married to, like, if you can't like go to the bathroom in front of them and act normal afterwards, like, what kind of relationship are you in? And I'm not saying like, you know, like, go out of your way, like, bring them into the bathroom with you as you pee, but like,
you have to see
but like, if they happen to be in the room with you, like, while you go to the bathroom, like, why is that such a big deal? Like, the guy I'm dating has already peed in front of me, and like,
oh, good.
It's not even like, didn't even discuss it.
What'd you just say?
Molly, you can't just say that in the middle of a serious
What word
question.
did you just use? There's so many things to talk about in that sentence that have nothing to do
Molly's dating somebody.
with what we're talking about.
This is a revelation to me and Laura, but we're going to move on from that because we're going to talk about Emily Gordon and how she won't poop in front of Kumail Nanjiani.
Very sorry. But I think
we're going to stay on topic.
To stay on topic, because we're good podcasters, I think what Molly was bringing up and what we want to discuss now is, when does the magic of a relationship fade, and does it have anything to do with like doing
bodily functions,
gross, in quotations, things in front of your significant other? Like, does the magic fade when that happens? Is it just in your head? Is there a way to keep the magic? Whatever.
Yeah, and is there a line to draw to keep that magic?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think so, because like, the person you marry is supposedly, you know, your soulmate, your best friend, like somebody you're completely comfortable with, who has seen every part of you and inside of you, and still like chooses to love you.
Choose your words better.
Whatever. It could be personality wise when I say part of you. But
no, inside of.
Did I say inside of?
Yes, you said inside of.
Anyway, I just think that it's not a big deal. Like, you're gonna get to that. You have to get to that point eventually. I just don't think you can avoid all of that. Yeah,
that just doesn't. For me, the point when that would be okay to like poop or pee in front of your significant other. And again, when we're saying in front of, it's not like they're watching you. It's like they might also be getting ready in the bathroom or something.
Right.
I think if they've seen you naked, like, that would be the line for me. Because, like, that's what I'm more worried about with, like, pooping or peeing. Like, if you fart in front of them, well, that's the first step. Farting in front of someone shows that you're more comfortable with them.
Exactly.
Pooping is just the level up.
Well, like, it's not like it's intentional, because again, like, the way my bathroom is that you can't close yourself off from anybody else in the bathroom. So like, if somebody's getting ready in the bathroom and you gotta go, like, they either need to get out or you're gonna go with them in there with you. Like, I don't see the big deal in it. Like,
and deodorant, I think, is especially where it connects more to the like Laura, you were saying, the quote unquote grossness. Because, like, he knows you wear deodorant. Yeah. He probably wears it too.
It's like
there's
like
nothing like to cover up in like shame.
That,
it's just like deodorant.
And girls
that's what I was about to say.
Yes,
like,
yes.
do those things. It's like this whole facade that like society and women have, that like men want to primp and proper and put together. It's like all the movies. Women wake up after a night of getting drunk and having sex and like going home with a guy. They wake up and like, whether the movies put it on or like whatever, they have a face of makeup. Like, they have their hair is done,
exactly.
it's not tangled, and like in is it Bridesmaids?
Or how commercials, when they, like, shave their legs when they're, like, already bare legs.
I think it's Bridesmaids where Catherine Wiig, what's her name, right? That's not her name. What's her name?
Kristen Wiig.
Kristen Wiig is in bed with that really awful guy and gets out of bed, goes to the bathroom, puts on makeup, perfume, deodorant, and I think shaves her legs or something else, gets back in bed. The guy wakes up as she's getting back in bed, and she, like, rolls around like she's just waking up. And she wakes up with perfect hair, face, teeth brushed, everything. And it's like, that's what guys want when they say they want a natural woman. Because they've never seen a natural woman.
Well, right, it's like in the first couple stages of your relationship, you know, you're putting on that, like, facade of, like, oh, I always look this good. Like, my hair's always done, my makeup's always done, right? Like, my legs are always shaved. Like, everything's great. And so I feel like if you're married and you can't, and you don't want to do any of that stuff in front of your husband, it's like you said, like, you're claiming, you know, like, girls don't poop or whatever, and... Like,
it
there's
all goes
some,
back
like,
to, like, girls aren't gross, or girls don't have imperfections.
Exactly.
And it's like, you really? Like, and I get that there are, because, I mean, back when courting, like, far back, when, like, courting was a thing, you were courting a woman, and it was like, you only saw her at her best, and you only saw her very strictly in very strict circumstances where she was at her best. And then even as you got into marriage, the man didn't see an unkept woman. He still only saw a very kept woman. And it was so, like, racy to even see, like, to do anything out of the norm and to see anything that wasn't ladylike or anything. And so, like, this, like, nature has just followed us into the 21st century where it's like, not anymore. Like, I don't care. And but, like, I guess I kind of look at it more of, like, it's not okay to show things in a light that makes something sexy gross. Like what she was talking about, like peeing or pooping or like deodorant. Like, you're showing off skin in a way, or like changing clothes. I think somebody said that earlier. Like, you're doing something that could be taken in a sexual manner, like taking off clothes or whatever could be seen as sexy, but in the way you're doing it, it's not.
Bailey, are you having, like, an episode over there?
What is happening?
Well, okay, so I tried to see if Kumail Nanjiani poops in front of Emily Gordon. I couldn't find any of that on his Twitter feed, and I came back and my phone, my video's not working, and I did accidentally hang up, but I'm back, so we can just stay focused.
Anyway.
But so yeah. Laura.
Yes.
Oh.
So.
You're the one who has been in a relationship the longest for a very long time, are getting married, basically are married, like you've said last week or a couple weeks ago. Real question, have you pooped in front of Sam, or vice versa?
I don't know if... I cannot say for a fact that I haven't, but I know that it's been an extreme circumstance, not because I don't want... Like, okay, it's different for me because I'm a shy peer pooper.
Peer?
I was about to say, some people can't poop in front of other people.
I don't even, like, it's so... I don't like pooping in public restrooms. Like, if I poop in a public restroom, it's like an emergency. And so, it's like, my body's like, no, this shouldn't happen in front of other people. This is a thing that, like, I don't really even like peeing in front of other people. Like, I cannot pee with somebody else in the room. Like, and in, like, public restrooms, if I know somebody that's peeing, like if me and y'all went into a bathroom together, it would take a lot for me to be like, you can pee. Like, it's not a thing. But, that being said, I have started being more comfortable with, like, leaving the door open and going to the bathroom. And, like, I've definitely peed in front of him. But I don't know about poop, just because of my body. But, like, other things, like, more gross things or whatever, like, I don't care about putting deodorant in front of him. I change it in front of him all the time. Like, there's...
What about brushing teeth? Some people I think that's kind of a
No.
gross thing
I mean, like,
to do.
most gross things that I could do in front of him, I've done and he's done. Because he pees and poos in front of me all the time. He doesn't give a shit.
Except when he does.
Yes, thank you.
But
no, like, I don't really see that as, like, losing the magic. I just see that as, like, your body saying that it's comfortable with somebody. Like what you were saying about, like, farting in front of people, your body's like, oh, we're comfortable enough to do this now, cool. So, but yeah, like, no.
Yeah.
We don't really have any of those, like, boundaries of what's, like, the magic is stopped because we started doing X in front of each other. Like,
yeah. And I think we should put, like, a disclaimer, like, we don't know their relationship or anybody else's, like, everyone can have their own boundaries. And
that's the thing is, like,
I don't think to us it makes sense.
Because it does.
Yeah.
I can see where she's coming from and why it's a thing at all. Like, we do want to be a perfect specimen for our partner, and we do want to be, like, at our best, and we want our partner to see us as something special. But in my case, like, I don't keep up appearances that much for myself. And if I'm with somebody, like, majority of my time is spent with Sam, like, I cannot be no, I can't do that. No, ma'am. So it's just like, for me, it just would never work because I'm not that type of person. But if you're that type of person and that, like, gives you validity in a relationship, then like, I can't say that's not right, because if you weren't doing it, you would probably feel weird about the relationship. So
yeah, it's just, to me, I see it as, like, a new kind of magic, so to speak. Like, I don't think you really lose anything by what?
Do you and William?
I mean, no, but it's not really, like, easy to. Like, I'm thinking the way that, like, my bathroom at home and the bathroom at his apartment, it's easier to not. But I'm thinking, like, my parents' bathroom, which is, like, the master bathroom, so there's, like, a door you can close to just the toilets and getting ready. If, like, he was getting ready, I could pee in there with, like, the door open. Like, that's a situation, like you were saying earlier, there's some situations where you just, like, don't, because it doesn't work. But
it's like, Molly, so, like, you're embarrassed, or you don't like eating around new people, right?
Yeah.
Same concept, in my opinion. Like, there's something you're uncomfortable with doing because of whatever reason in front of somebody else, and it hinders your ability to, like, be comfortable in the situation, so you just rather not do it. But you get over that. I think you'd get over eating it, like, you get over eating in front of somebody when you get more comfortable with them. I think you get over, like, farting, pooping, peeing, bodily functions, getting ready tendencies.
Yeah.
I mean, little quirks.
It's like a new closeness.
Like,
I don't think I finished my sentence earlier.
Your true self on your first, second, third date. Like, you're not going to act, like, rambunctious and yell and do whatever your, like, natural inhibitions are. You're going to be in your best behavior on the first date, usually.
Well, yeah, and I get that. But these people have been married for 8 years, and they still don't do it. And I mean, like, again, it's, like, not our place to, like, judge their relationships.
Right.
I mean, if they think they're keeping the magic alive by doing that, then, like, by all means. But I just don't see it that way.
Same. I mean, same. But yeah, no room to judge, but I don't think it does anything, in my opinion, don't think it does anything to magic. Hasn't done anything to my magic.
Just as a big blanket general, like we said, there could be lots of situations where that wouldn't be the case. Like, Laura, you being a nervous pooper, if you didn't poop in front of Sam, fine. But just our general kind of thoughts.
Hasn't done anything to me and Sam's magic, and I mean, we're still.
Oh, I know what I wanted to bring up. Sex. Sex is really gross, right? Like, you're seeing a lot of stuff. There's lots of fluids. So if you can do sex, it's gross.
It's gross.
Yeah, because there are fluids.
Not that many.
Definitely some, though. Yeah. Thank you. There's definitely at least one
That's
to
the
three
magic
I could
they're
think of.
trying to keep alive, Bailey. They're trying to keep the sex alive.
So, okay, so that what I'm saying is, you get hot and sweaty, can get a little messy. You're usually pretty naked.
But it's an attractive
I feel like if you can do
thing. Like, it's not like, You're like,
I guess that's
gross,
true.
you're naked, I have to have sex with you. You're like, fuck yeah, you're naked, I get to have sex with you.
Yeah, I guess with sex, at least you're getting something out of it. When someone else is pooping, you don't get anything. I guess that's a good point.
And like that's the point where you want to have bodily functions and stuff. Like you're fine with the, and that's another thing I guess is there's different bodily functions that people are like, oh, those are fine. I like those bodily functions, or like I'm fine with
the
those
sexy
happening,
body
but
functions.
those bodily functions I don't want to be a part of and don't want to see.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like I just don't see it ruining magic, or like I see it more as like I'm getting comfortable with you and you're able to differentiate. Like I'm able to accept that Sam has bodily functions and that I have bodily functions and that we're both humans that have the same things happen, and that him doing that in front of me does not like negate my attractiveness to him or vice versa, and that same for him. So it's like, yeah, you can do that. It's not like that's gonna be like, oh wow, now I know what his shit smells like, I have to end it or something.
Exactly.
Because that's like the only thing that I can think of to be like the end all be all is that, wow, you smell, gotta go. Like your shit don't stink.
Well, like I said, if you've seen them fart, you've smelled that already. Plus, Rihanna told me that sex is in the air, and she likes the smell of it. So I know that there's a smell. So
Thank you, Bailey.
You're welcome.
So should we move on to our next topic of relationships?
Let's go.
Okay, yeah. So we also wanted to talk about long distance relationships and our experiences with them, because 2/3, maybe 3/3 now, I guess we'll find out later, have been in a long distance relationship before, and want to talk about if we think they work. I mean, for those of us still in those relationships, I think the answer is a little clear.
I don't think they work. They ruin relationships.
Yeah.
Let me actually, I've been battling with this for the past couple of weeks.
And apparently got over it, but
no.
She gonna tell her friends Bailey and Laura? No.
Let me tell you why I said I was dating somebody, because it's easier than explaining what's actually going on, which is that I don't really know. So I just say.
Okay, so you're not. Okay. No, we knew about that.
Yeah, and nothing has changed.
Good.
Oh,
it's just easier to say you're dating.
I know.
So yeah, like I've been kind of dating this guy that lives in Jackson, and we haven't like defined our relationship, because I think we both know that if we talk about it, we're gonna have to talk about like, do we want to do long distance? Which I mean, we technically already are, but
because you're in Atlanta and he is in Jackson, Mississippi.
Yeah,
cool. Just so the listeners can get the distance.
I said Jackson.
How far in hours is that?
5 hours. And I mean, it's not awful, because I mean, my family lives there, so like I have a reason to go back.
But realistically, how often in a busy like quarter of your job do you get to go back to Jackson?
Not that often. During the summer, I go back a lot because.
As I say, you've already been a few times.
Yeah, because a lot of things go on in the summer that make me go back. I usually don't have a reason to go back unless it's like a holiday or somebody's in town, like something like that. But since I've been going back to Jackson, like, we don't have to get into it anyway. So I've been going back and forth, like trying to decide whether or not like long distance relationship is worth it, especially when like as of right now there's no end in sight. So one of my very best friends, we'll call her what should we call her? Tiffany. So my best friend Tiffany was dating this guy who lived in Australia, and they met once in New Orleans for a night. Had a great night together. He was like, I want to see you again. I'll be in Tuscaloosa the next weekend. Like, you should come visit me. And so she met him in Tuscaloosa. They hung out again for a night, and then he went back to Australia, and she didn't see him again. This happened in like October. And so come December, they started talking a little bit more, like texting. And she's like, I really like this guy. And so they started talking more and more. By the end of January, they were dating, like in a relationship, boyfriend and girlfriend.
So they'd only seen each other once.
Yeah.
He lives in Australia.
Yeah.
And this is from October to January.
Yep.
Oh boy.
And I was very skeptical of it because, one, I'm a very cynical person. And two, I was like, why would you want to try to date somebody who lives all the way across the world? But she was in love with him. He said he was in love with her. They talked about their future together. Like, she was planning to move to Australia. They were talking about like all their plans together. And I was like, I'll believe it when I see him. And so they started talking about like plans for him to come visit her, and they decided that he would come for 2 weeks in June, and he said he bought a plane ticket like he was coming. And I texted her today and I said, dude, I can't believe he's going to be here in 2 days. She texted me back 3 hours ago and said he's not coming anymore. He broke up with me.
No, dear. Okay,
Tiffany.
I mean, sad, but also that's good.
The thing is I'm so happy. Not happy, but like, I'm not surprised at all. But I'm so
relieved.
sad.
Oh, yeah. It was heartbreaking to hear.
Did she not see it coming?
No. She said that like things seemed totally normal. It came completely out of the blue. And I was talking
They had still been talking every day?
Yeah. She said they talked on the phone recently too. Like she said she texted him today and said, when are you coming on Friday, right? And he texted her back and said, and like broke up with her. Texted her.
What?
Well, he's just an asshole in the whole thing.
Yeah, and so she's telling me this, and I'm like freaking out because this is my biggest fear in a relationship. You know, like the dude just like waking up one day and deciding that he's no longer into you.
Don't think that happens in this situation.
Exactly. Yeah, I was actually talking to the guy that I'm kind of
not dating,
and he was like, I bet he never bought a plane ticket to begin with.
No, he didn't.
He did not.
If he was supposed to come in 2 days, that boy did not buy a plane ticket.
That's what I said too. I was like, you can't, that's so much money to just blow.
He did not buy a plane ticket.
No.
I can almost promise.
Do y'all think that he played her? Like, do you think he was ever into her?
I really don't want to talk ill of like the wounded, and like I feel like Tiffany is very upset right now. But
I don't think Tiffany's gonna hear this.
One of those situations that's like he thought he was gonna get more out of it than he did, or he thought she. I don't really know what he thought, but I don't trust it. I don't think that he had good intentions. I don't think this was just one of those like love at first sight, fall in love quickly. I don't. Either he was really caught up in the love and then came to his senses, or there was never feelings and he was just like, let's see what I can get out of this. And maybe it wasn't either.
Well,
but like it doesn't make any sense.
That's just something I don't understand, because like, why waste all that time and effort on somebody who lives so far away?
What do you mean time and effort?
Okay.
He called her.
Whoa. Let me.
He didn't waste anything.
Let's stop right there. Let's without speculating on like his motives or anything. Let's just look at the like base situation that we know of at face value. They lived in America and Australia and only met each other twice over the last 10 months or so.
Once.
Or just the once.
Once.
That is like your most extreme version of a long distance relationship. This is much different than 2 states away, to use Molly as an example.
Just to talk about them for a second, is you just said that like all the time and effort they wasted, she doesn't know what he's been doing since he's been back home, and neither does he. Like, he could be living a totally different life. I'm not saying that he is, I'm not calling him that much of an asshole, but like, he hasn't put in effort. It's not like he spent money to come back and see her. It's not like his initial meeting with like their initial meeting he paid for because of her. Like, unless he sent her gifts or like bought her
That's
thing.
another thing, is that he claimed
started
to have bought
on a
her
shaky
Christmas
foundation
present and he sent it to her, but it never showed up.
Yeah, no.
Ooh.
I
But
don't think.
she sent him something and it got there.
No, I don't think.
Very shaky foundation.
I think this guy didn't. I don't think. No, I don't think you should feel bad or like say that like why would you waste all the time, because I didn't think he wasted any time. I think he spent all day, if he's texted her all day, he spent days calling and texting and possibly FaceTiming and Skyping. But other than like a little bit of wasted time over 10 months, he hasn't wasted anything. And even the time is just kind of like, it's like we're on two opposite ends of the earth, literally. So the time was probably in the early morning, late at night, random times during the day. So like he probably had really good excuses as to why he couldn't talk, because we're opposites, like literally opposite spectrums. So even if he said, "Oh, I can't talk because it's 4 a.m," well, valid excuse. But who knows where he could have been? He could have a whole family, and nobody knows because. So like you talking about him wasting time? He didn't waste any time. He didn't waste anything. He didn't do. In my opinion, he didn't do anything.
That's true.
Which is, exactly why long distance relationships don't work, because me and Sam have been a part of, like, we've been apart 3 different times in our relationship for a long time, and then my ex and I were separated for about 6 months, and each time it was like a give and take situation. It's you're gonna come up this weekend, I'm gonna go down next weekend. I'm going to call. We have set times to call. We have set times to chat. You have to not have to be available to me, but like, you have to be like understanding and supportive when I need time with you. And so like when me and Sam first did long distance, it was our freshman year of college, and he stayed at home and I went down to state. And I think the longest time we were apart that time was 53 days, like around 50 days. And it sucked. It was like, and we had just started dating like 2 months before I left. And already at that point, I was like, wow, I'm a freshman in college. And all of my friends are like going out and getting sloppy drunk or going to frat parties and hooking up. And it's like, 1, I can't. And then 2, I really don't want to, because that's not my scene. And 3, I can't go enjoy these parties, or I can't go enjoy freshman year with Sam. Now, flashback to like a couple episodes ago where I was like, being alone on my own really was good for me. And I think it was, because I think that I would have clung to Sam and just stayed like by his side and done what he wanted to do. And I think it was good that we were separate, which long distance relationships are good for, because you don't get codependent and you don't get like needy and clingy with your significant other. So when he got to school, we did school together, and then when I went and did Disney in 2015, we were apart for 6 months, and he only came to see me. He came to see me twice, and I came home once. And so over the 6 months, we only saw each other 3 times, and we Skyped a lot, and we FaceTimed, and we called and texted. But at Disney, it was a little bit different than it was down in Starkville, because I was in a totally different time zone, so our like talking was different, and I had really weird work hours a lot, so I was much more busy than I was at school, and I had a lot more to do. So I was more of like it was more of me saying, I can't talk to you, and him getting bored, and him dealing with like, oh, well, I'm just sitting at school, I'm just sitting in my apartment, I'm just doing the normal stuff while she's out living her life and doing fun things and like meeting somebody new every day and having a new experience and literally living in my favorite place ever and doing exactly what I want to do. So it was more of him like dealing with the fact that I was doing everything I ever wanted to do and he wasn't a part of it. So that was hard for each of us to understand, that like I'm living out my dream that he doesn't have. He doesn't share this dream, and he's sitting at school. And so it was like we had to start to understand each other. And then when I went to Paris, we were apart all 3 months. I didn't see him at all. He never came to visit. But him trying to come visit, or him coming to visit at Disney World, and like gave us a new lease on life, and it really let us have like good times together, and it helped the process of being in a long distance relationship, because I knew that like count down however many days I knew I was going to see him. And the same thing when I went to Paris. It was the same thing about at Disney. I was living this great life. I was doing all these great things. I was going to all these great places, meeting all these great people. And he was sitting back home, and like I would complain about something in Paris or something, and he's like, "Well, I'm in home in Mississippi, so stop complaining." So it was kind of like that whole thing where we each had to understand and learn and grow, and we grew together separately, and it really helped. And long distance is hard, and it really sucks. But just in my opinion, I don't think that it's kind of like those things that, like, if before you get married or before you commit to a long-term relationship, you need to go on a road trip and get lost with somebody so you know how somebody reacts in a high-stress situation. Somebody told me that a long time ago, and it's true. And I also think that before you like settle down and like accept that this is your future, you have to do long distance, because you do not know how someone is going to react to you leaving and you doing something until you have done long distance. Because we didn't know, like, I didn't know how Sam was going to react to me leaving. I didn't know how I was going to react to me leaving. Like, what if one of us had found somebody else, or had given up on like this being our normal, or had thought that it was too much work or too much effort or not worth it.
Well, I feel like your relationship is sort of specific situational wise, because not everybody does the Disney internship program or goes to study abroad. And you were in college the whole time you did long distance, which I 100% agree. I think doing long distance in college is like really hard, and I almost feel bad for the people who do it, just because I know they do feel that like they can't go out and enjoy that experience to the fullest because they're concerned about their significant other or whatever. They want them to be there, and that's another reason they can't fully enjoy it. But I feel like, I'm not calling myself an adult, but like I feel like whenever you're out of college, like in the real world, it's a little
and I do want to
different.
give you that is what you're talking about. Starting a relationship in a long distance situation is a whole different situation, because I've never done that. I've never started a relationship and like talked like the talking relationship is long distance, the dating relationship is long distance, having to make every decision, having to have every like fight, argument, whatever, long distance. Like, I've never done that.
Yeah.
Right, and I've never had a relationship, so it's weird. I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, because I mean, it's not like either one of us are holding each other back. Like, we both still go out. We make sure to talk at least like once, like FaceTime or something, like once throughout the weekend. Whenever we both can, like we both like work around our times, and both of us are kind of homebodies, so like like I was super worried whenever we first started talking that like he was gonna go out all the time, and like whenever he is socializing he doesn't get on his phone, and which is fine, but it also stresses me out, and so I was like worried that was gonna happen all the time. But like for like there's like maybe once a weekend out of a month he'll go out. And like I remember one time he went out and he was like, I'll be back at 11 and we can Skype if you're still up whenever we get home. And he like called me immediately as he left. And but yeah, I mean, it's that I'm so on the fence about it. Like, I don't think long distance can work if there's no end in sight.
What do you mean by that?
Like, there's no chance of y'all coming together, because I don't know if I necessarily believe in uprooting your life to be where they are, or them uprooting theirs. Like, if it works out, then like if like they want to move where you are, like if they can see themselves in that city without you, then like come on then. But like, don't move here simply because I'm here.
What about like
my boyfriend and I don't have an end in sight? What do you think about that?
That's true.
That's another thing too. Like, because if I am to do a long distance relationship with the guy that I'm like seeing now, there's not an end in sight as of right now. but like
Mm-hmm.
I still want to try, because what if an end in sight comes available? Or
Right. Yeah.
I think your outlook on it is cynical for the
I have
right
a problem of
reasons.
looking too far into the future. I have done that
Well,
with
that's
any guy who has been somewhat interested in me. I look
yeah.
at the long run and I'm like, can I see myself with this person in the future? And if I can't, I don't even give him a chance. I'm
Yeah,
just,
I was gonna
Well,
say
that's
that's not a
fine.
bad thing up to a point.
but that's what's hard with long distance, is that like it's
Yeah.
hard for me to not think about the fact that like there's, as of right now, no chance of us living in the same city. So it's
Or,
hard for
for
me to like
example,
fully accept, like fully give myself over to this relationship.
or I think you're looking at mine and Laura's relationships differently because we didn't start with, we didn't start as long distance. Would that be an accurate
What do you mean?
statement? Like, Laura and Sam didn't start dating as long distance. They were both living in the same place or living fairly close to each other and then had to leave.
Oh,
Me and
yeah,
my
yeah.
boyfriend dated and then I graduated, and so then we were
Right, yeah, it
long
makes
distance
sense
after
for
that.
y'all to have done long distance because originally you weren't long distance. Whereas, like,
Right.
starting long distance, your goal is to not be long distance.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
that's eventually everyone's goal. I don't think anybody is like, does long distance and says, this is what's right for us, we're going to keep doing this, or whatever. I do know, and it is weird because I do know, I had two professors in college who, separate professors, both female, who um, lived separately from their husbands and had for the last, one of them had been more than 20 years. She saw him sometimes on the weekends, but he was a professor one place and she was a professor others. And one of my professors even had a husband who started out as a professor at Mississippi State and then moved out west somewhere, and they rarely see each other. And they don't have, because they both are on the tenure track, or all four of them, I don't know about the third one, but I know three of them were on the tenure track, and they didn't have any end in sight. And she had said, "Is that a spider?" Oh no!
Oh gosh, I thought you were talking about my room.
I have to go kill it. I'll be right back.
Okay,
Oh, it's
well
gone.
that's fine.
Oh,
Molly.
I found it. No, I'm still talking.
Okay.
I got it. Anyways.
Did you just get it with your hands?
No, I had a magazine.
Okay.
Anyways, but so they were long distance, and seeing them, it was like, oh, that's my worst nightmare. Being long distance like that, but it's like that you have to compromise and you have to make it work. And if you really love this person or want a relationship with this person, you like make it work and you like suck it up and you're like, this is gonna be fucking hard and I'm not gonna like this and this is not what I wanted to happen, but gotta do what you gotta do. But in your situation, in Molly's situation, it is different because I'm assuming my professor started out in a together relationship and they could date normally and they could talk normally.
Yes.
But Molly's also, your relationship is going differently than my relationship and Bailey's relationship and a lot of normal, in quotations, relationship I know, because you talk to this boy online at wee hours in the morning for 7 hours, and you Skype him, and you seem to, when you're with him, not be as nervous as you are some other times. Like, of course you're nervous, but like you get over it, and you have inside jokes, and you have things in common, and you just kind of seem to pick up where you left off. And it's not one of those things where it's like you have to get used to each other when you see each other. You just kind of are natural with each other, and it's one of those friendship relationships that's just going to work automatically no matter what happens. And
Yeah.
no, there's no end in sight. But if you get into this relationship and it turns into a relationship and you define the relationship and you both decide you're dating or whatever, and for however long you do long distance until either one of you decides that, if he decides maybe I do want to go to Atlanta, or you decide and he together decide you want to go somewhere completely different and you go work somewhere else and you pick a city together, and like that might not be what you want to do necessarily for you right now, but who knows about 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year from now, you might decide that he's more important than this job, but which like yeah, in by definition it is your dream job right now. But who knows about in however many months you could gain experience, get offered a great job in like Texas or California or something and be like, you know what, would you want to go with me and start a life there and see where that takes you? I just don't want you to be limited by what could happen.
Right, and it's a struggle. I'm trying very hard not to.
Get it.
Also, yeah, I want to tell the podcast listeners what I've told you a couple times, what Laura kind of got into, is that you and this guy kind of are doing long distance already, even if you don't want to maybe label it or like officially get into long distance because of what the baggage that can bring. But you're mostly you mostly have got it down.
Yeah, you
like
seem to be doing it better than me and Sam did it the first 2.5 times we did it. So
you're hitting the benchmarks. You're you're Skyping, you're texting, you're visiting. You got it.
Yeah.
You're both, and like that's another thing is you both seem to be working to give as much as the other one. Like you've gone to visit him a couple more times, which is true. You have more of a reason to go visit him than he has a reason to come visit you. Like there's more people there you can see. It's not you spending.
Well, in the past 2 times I've gone there, I haven't necessarily gone for him. Like I did not plan those weekends to go home to see him. Those weekends were already planned. And I had things to do that weekend, but I still got to see him. Whereas the next time I go home, it will be just to see him. So.
And like that's a big, like that first visit where he, like when Sam came to visit me in Starkville, because when I came back to Hernando, we stayed at different places. Like he had his parents' house, I had my parents' house. We didn't spend the whole time together because I had other friends that I had to go see. I had other things I needed to do. I only had like 2 days. Like, there was things I needed to do at home. So it was like, yeah, I'm going to be with you a lot of the time, but I have other excuses if, like, I don't know, like, you're not confined to one space together. Whereas when he came to visit me in Starkville for the first time, it was like, I have to entertain you for a good 72 hours. And, like, this is, like, we spent the nights together, and these were, like, the first times where it was like, oh, we're, like, dating. Like, this is what that is. Like, I have to entertain you. I have to show you where I live and convince you that it's, like, the greatest ever, so you'll come back. That's, like, what went through my head is, like... look at how great my room is, and look at how great this town is, and look at how great it's going to be when we're here together, because, like, that was my mentality, because I knew he was going to come eventually, so it was like, I have to convince you this is the greatest place in the world to ever come, and so you'll come back. And... nothing that I did was going to change his mind, but it was like, with my ex, when we had done long distance, I went down to Starkville to visit him one weekend, and he didn't do shit. We went to a homecoming game, and he made us leave early. We didn't even get to see the homecoming people walk. He made us leave early. We went back to his dorm room and sat for the rest of the night, and he ordered pizza to his dorm room, and then we just sat and watched movies. And it was the most boring thing. And I was like, wow, Starkville's the worst place. This is disgusting. Like, if this is what people do at Starkville, or if this is what freshman year is like, I don't want to come here. And then I went down there and it was like, oh, he was just a really bad college person. Got it. And so when Sam came, it was like, here's this thing we can do, and here's this place we can go eat, and here's these people we can hang out with, and this, that, and the other. And then it was great. And doing that in long distance is hard. Like, that first time where he's going to come see you will be hard. But because you'll have this, like, solid foundation of, like, you have things in common, you know what you want to do, and you live in a really, really cool city, I think you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, he's been here before. He knows what he wants to do.
Yeah, I think as long as you're both working at it, that's the basis for a good regular relationship, but also a
you
good
have the basis down for
distance.
A really kick-ass relationship. Congrats.
Thanks. I worked I didn't work that hard for it.
You didn't work at all for it.
So is that...
Long distance isn't that bad, though. Don't knock it till you try it. And since you aren't admitting it, you haven't tried it yet.
Yeah. Ooh, she got you there. She roasted you.
Yeah. I feel like we just analyzed my relationship this whole time.
Well, you know, that's what you need sometimes.
It's fine. He doesn't listen to this, so he'll never hear it.
Well, never say never. Laura, come to this corner of the room where Molly can't hear us. Come to this, yes. So, when Molly and this guy get married, or just whenever she gets married, it doesn't have to be to this guy. That could be even better. We definitely got to like play some of these podcast clips at the wedding, like throughout.
Just play Molly's Dumb Corner as the like first dance song.
Yes, exactly. All right, back to the real podcast. Okay, cool. Yeah, Molly, how was we were just in that corner chilling.
Long distance sucks and it really tests a relationship, but I'm gonna stand by forever that a couple needs to go through long distance before they commit to each other. And you're just one step ahead. You're starting long distance, so you're gonna know that it's solid and it's strong. And you and this boy are gonna be like,
Oh god.
That'd be great.
What if this is dark, but what if your relationship only works as long distance?
Why would you say
That's
that?
what my dad thinks.
I don't know.
What?
I think your dad and I think a lot.
My dad thinks I have
alike.
commitment issues, so he thinks that me doing long distance is the best for me.
You do have commitment issues. And it probably is the best. But okay. So when you actually start doing it and then you actually come together, then we'll have a whole episode about how do I do no distance relationships.
Yeah.
And we'll do this all over again.
No distance. I like that. Well, alrighty then. I hope that everyone got some kind of insight out of that, even if maybe it was just Molly.
I hope we can help. We didn't mean to be that pointed with our advice. We meant to hit something everybody could benefit from, but sometimes you got to take care of your own. And I know some of y'all are going through the same problems, or will be sometime.
Yeah, so if you've ever been in a long-distance relationship, you can tell us that. We would love to hear it. You can find us over on Twitter at ourthreecentspod. That's the number 3. You can follow us, DM us there.
Please DM
our email
us
address.
Questions.
Yes, and also just unrelated questions to what we've talked about today. Any questions or topics you'd like to hear us talk about in the future, or you can send those over to ourthreecentspod@gmail.com. That's 3 with the word spelled out. We're also on YouTube. Our channel is Our 3 Cents. There's always a link in the description of the episodes. Subscribe to us there and on SoundCloud. Our theme music is Digital Lemonade by Kevin MacLeod. And I think that's it. Is that everything they need to know?
I think so.
Well, okay. Until next time, I'm Bailey.
I'm Laura.
And I'm Molly.
Goodbye.
Bye.
I stopped recording an hour ago.
Stop.
Just kidding.